started by Social Beat, which is one of India's independent leading agencies. It was started with a vision to do online training and share the knowledge which we have acquired from working with different brands across categories. And also our vision right now and an aim is to train 1 lakh working professionals, a very career-focused approach, and help them upskill in their career opportunities. So that's what we're focusing right now on. So I think today, as part of our webinar, we have a speaker, Mr. Anupam. So speaking about Mr. Anupam, he's a digital marketing consultant and trainer for over 7 years. He's also trained over 5,000 students, both online and offline classes. He's worked on a lot of integrated campaigns with various brands such as Bastion Global, Elimination Dubai, IMS Health, Phoenix Mills Limited, and more. He's also delivered various lectures in colleges in Bangalore and Coimbatore. So thank you, Anupam. Before I hand it over to you, I think we've started a poll. We have over 44% people from working professionals and also students, and a few entrepreneurs as well. So welcome all. And please, let's keep it interactive. So please feel free to post any questions you have, any doubts you have on the topic in the chat box. So once the session is over by Mr. Anupam, we will take the questions in a live Q&A session. Over to you, Anupam. Anupam, I think you're on mute. If you could just unmute. I think he's facing few technical issues. Before we start, we can also start letting us know where you're from and what your background is, what you're looking forward to the session in the chat box. So it'll be easier for us to address your expectations as well.
All right, so hi guys. Very good evening, all of y'all. Guys, am I audible to all of y'all? If it's a yes, then if you could please type down 1 in the chat section. All right, that's great. Perfect. All right, so welcome everyone. I heartily welcome you. My name is Anupam Srivastav. And first thing, I hope that you all are keeping safe in this global pandemic. And I also believe that you all are staying at home and utilizing your quarantine. The first thing I would like to thank all of y'all for spending out time and coming down to this particular session in regards of understanding the top 5 hacks for content marketing. Now, also thank you so very much, Lavanya, for such a lovely introduction. I'm very glad for that. So now I can see a lot of people out there. Okay, now this is really going to be an interactive session. Okay, and yes, towards the end of the session, we would having up the floors open for all the FAQs. Okay, meanwhile, in middle of the content, if you feel like that you have any sort of question, you can reach us on the Q&A section, which is available, or either into the chat section as well. Okay, so now let's go ahead and start what is the agenda for the day. Now, the very first thing what we generally need to understand that it is what is content. Okay, now in the easiest way, if I go ahead and explain it to all of y'all, content is the king. Okay, content is a combination of image, text, videos, blogs, links, all together available over the world of internet. Okay, now just consider the moment I pull out all these content, is anything left over the internet? And the answer is absolutely no. Content is the king. And now, when we talk about content, it gives us one of the best high quality results in today's state. Okay. Now, this particular webinar, what we are talking about is more about understanding what are the 5 different hacks through which we can actually get more amount of results and data. Okay. Now, yes, it is about 5, but I have got one additional hack for you. So we would not be talking about 5 of the hacks. Instead, we would be talking about 6 different hacks of content marketing. Okay. Now, before we get into the hack, let's first try to understand that why content marketing is important and what is going to be the benefit for the same. Okay. Now, when we talk about the benefit, so this is what we go ahead with. Now, the very first thing is that with the help of the content, okay, I can easily expect to get more number of clients, which would also help me to get more number of subscribers in today's state. And with the help of the subscribers, I can reach out to people with the help of email at a very lower and a nominal cost. Okay. I am not supposed to spend thousands and lakh rupees, just like what we generally do in terms of traditional advertisements. When we talk about print media or hoardings and billboards, I can do it for a very mere somewhere around 25 to 35 or max to max 50 paise per image. Yes. So this is something which can easily attract more number of clients, which would also eventually in the long run help you to get more number of email subscribers. Okay. The second thing is to get interaction. Okay. Now, people go ahead, see your content, but then, okay, they have vanished. Now, yes, my content was viewed, but what is the reaction of my content? That is something which is one of the most important factors in regards of this. Okay. Now, to get that interaction, if you have a website in a format of a blog, okay, let's try to hypothetically understand it in a term of a blog. Now, when we talk about a blog, your end conversion is that people should come, they should read your blog, which is technically spending time on your platform. Okay. And then go ahead and give your comment on that. And that is when you get to know that, okay, yes, people are interested. Okay. What they are thinking about your content. Because generally what happens, if I have a blog and if I just publish it over the internet, and if I'm not getting any interaction from that, so it technically becomes a one-way communication. I have said and it's done. I absolutely have no idea what people are thinking about it. Yes. For a quick example, let me give you this. Now, I believe you all spend a huge amount of time on YouTube. Okay. Now, let's consider I am a chef. Okay. I am a chef and I have uploaded a video recently in regards of any of the recipes. Okay. Now, going further, even I am out of content. I am thinking that what do I go ahead and create as a next video of mine? Now, generally what you would see a lot of chefs on their YouTube channel, they would go ahead and say that, okay, this was the recipe for the today. I would like to know from you that how did you like it? Please reply me in the comment box. Plus, if you want me to prepare something being very specific in terms of a dish, you can please type it down in the comment section so that I can create the next video for the same. Now, just with this, what technically happens that the video or the YouTuber, what I would term it to be now, okay, he has asked for suggestions. Now, all the interested audience, okay, let's say out of 100 comments, 90 comments are for biryani. Now, 2 things. First, that person or that YouTuber has got a good amount of engagement. The second, he has got the content idea for the next video. What should I create? Now, just because majority of the people said it's biryani, so he would do that. And just because 90 people requested or they said that I want this particular recipe, okay, so obviously it's very much, he's confident that the video what I upload in the second time, okay, I can expect this 90 people at least to come and watch. Why? Because this is something what they want to see. Clear? So you can easily drive valuable comments. Okay. Then when you talk about the third point, now this is said to be one of the most important, which is to encourage people come down on your website for the second, third, fourth, fifth, or to be regular on your platform. Okay. Now, if I have a blog, okay, if I have a blog and if I write once in a week or once in a month, I can expect very less number of people to come down. Okay. Now, why is it so? Because my content is not getting updated frequently. My content is something which is read by people, and just because I am not updating my content, what they will do coming down to my platform. Yes. So now it becomes important to go ahead and update your content on a daily basis so that, yes, all the people, those who are regular visitors, can again come down to your website to see new content, what you're talking about. And the new people, if someone is sharing up your content or if your content is getting viral or promoted or it reaches out to trending, so you can expect more new users also to come down. Yes. So this is what is one of the most important factor to get the people coming down to your platform regularly. Okay. And then we talk about the last and the most important factor, which is building up your personal brand. Okay. Now, at the end of the day, whether you talk about a brand or a personal individual, the biggest motive of being available on digital media is to get that visibility in front of everyone, to be known from everyone. Okay. There's a very common saying in Hindi, what we always say, jo dikhta hai wahi bikta hai. So it's very much important for you to be visible to your audience. Only then you can expect them to come down, give you the kind of conversions you're looking for, or the kind of conversions or the kind of content you want to get promoted and so forth. Okay. So these are the quick benefits of content marketing. Now let's go down and discuss about the actual hacks. Okay. Now here are the quick snippets of the actual hacks, what we can have in terms of content marketing. So first, let's quickly have a look over them, and so that we can drive down into the same. So the very first is the viral content. Okay. You need to come up with such kind of content which can easily get viral, which can easily grab the attention of people. Okay. The second is in-depth article. Now, gone are those days when you're like, okay, I would write a content up to 300 words and my work is done. No, absolutely not. If you talk from a reader's point of view or you talk from Google's point of view, okay, both of them prefer content which has actual amount of stats and data. Okay, instead of beating around the bush, you have the actual points and giving you the exact information what is required. Okay. The third is the clickable headline and CTAs. Okay, so what kind of headlines do you use? So that's one of the most important thing, because what is your content? That's a secondary thing. People will go ahead and have a look over your content only when they are happy with the subject line, okay, or with the headline. The next is utilizing above your fold. Okay, so this is a bit technical, what we would try to understand live, having an example of any of the platforms available. The next what we have is current trends. So yes, to understand that what is going on as of now into the market, what kind of content is being liked by people. Okay. And then towards the end, we have something which is known as IDA or AIDA, and that is what we would discuss. All right. So now let's go ahead and talk about for all of them. Now, the very first what we talk about is known as Brainstorm for viral ideas. Okay. Now is the time when you need to understand that what kind of content is being used by people. Okay. What kind of content people are interested towards, what kind of content you can expect that, okay, it can get shareable, more people can go ahead and share it. Yes. Now this chart, what you get to see, okay, is a recent data for the first quarter, okay, from a major leading platform which is known as BuzzSumo. Okay. Now this platform technically tells you that what kind of content is getting, or I would say what kind of emotional content is getting more than 10,000 shares across the internet. Okay. Now the chart, what you could get to see, the maximum share is taken by 25%, where you like to please people. Okay. They should be like very much interesting. This is something very much clear for me. Okay. Then when it's about comedy, about laughter, to make people laugh, and what we generally call it in today's date, it's none other than memes. Okay. So now you see every second day, just because of any of the one very famous dialogues, or you talk about any of the incident which recently happened, the memes are available. Okay. So that is one of it. Amusement, to make people amused, that okay, something like this could be also done. Okay. Now you will also get to see a lot of people. I would take a small example over here. So there's been one individual who comes from a very humble background. I actually don't know his real name, but he's a very good dancer I would say, copies Michael Jackson to a very good extent, and he has won some recently 1 crore rupees in any of the live shows. He's named as Baba Jackson. Now, he has been amusing people with his performances. It has been shared by top leading stars in the Bollywood, whether you talk about Hrithik Roshan or Amitabh Bachchan. So that's, again, getting your content shared by those famous people also gives you that limelight. Yes, just because that person is having a huge amount of followers, it's done like this. Yes, so that's one of the most important factor. And then again, so followed, you have joy, anger, empathy, surprise, sadness, and then as a category as others. Yes, so we always need to understand that what is that one viral idea which I can easily expect to go ahead and reach out to people. Yes, now let's go ahead and talk about the second point, which is the in-depth articles. Okay, now as I already said, that when we talk about in-depth articles, okay, now this data, what you get to see up over here, is from a website which is known as SERP IQ, which is more in regards of Google algorithms. Okay, now here the chart says that if a website is having up a content up to a certain words, something like 450, 2600, 2300, so what kind of content is getting the better volume? Okay, which of the content is getting more searches? So if you could see this, the number 2, which is having almost around, I would say 2500 approximate, is getting the maximum number of visibilities. Because when you talk about Google as a point of algorithm, they also make sure that I would like to show those content over my search engine ranking page, which is having actual data. Okay, the website where people are spending more amount of time. Okay, now, what technically Google says is that if you go on a website and if you leave a website in a very short span of time, Google starts considering that your website might not be that very much relevant to the content what the person has been searching for. Yes. Whereas the moment people start getting engaged on your website, they start spending time on your website, Google realizes, okay, this website is something very much relevant to what people are searching for. Hence, instead of showing it on the low position, let me push it up according to the ladder and let me show it into the top ranking positions. Yes. Now, when we talk about articles, so do I need to write my content in such a way so that it becomes easy for Google to read and understand it? The answer is no. You need to make your content in such a way so that it is very much easy for the audience, the end user, to understand and absorb it, that what it is and how it is. Okay, only then is the time you can expect that, okay, people are spending time over there. Okay, now here when you talk about your content, engagement plays a very important role. Just having a huge amount of text, you cannot expect people to go ahead and read that. Okay, so it becomes mandatory for us to go ahead and have some of the other engagement levels, such as some examples, short videos or the images, what people can actually see. Okay, and now if you talk about the results, we have also been seeing that during this particular lockdown state, the usage of YouTube for each and every individual has gone to a very higher extent. Yes, it has been gone to such an higher extent that just because of the amount of data consumption which was being done in India or across the globe, I would say, Google had to reduce the viewing resolution up to 480 pixels on mobile or handheld devices. That is the usage. That is the kind of usage what is being done over this platform. Okay, so having in-depth articles with the additional kind of content with images and videos is always going to give you a higher amount of results. Okay, now talking about the next is we talk about the clickable headlines and CTA. Now this is something which is very much important. Now, as I earlier said, that headlines is one of the most important factor. Okay, now let's have a quick interaction over here with the help of the chat box what you have. Now, when we talk about newspaper, now how many of you read newspaper? If you could please go ahead and type down one, all the people, those who read newspaper, if you could type down one, please. All right, perfect, perfect. So I can see a lot of people coming up with one. That's perfect. That's great. Okay. Now, when you go ahead and read up a newspaper, okay, when you go ahead and read up a newspaper, do you directly jump into the content, or you decide with the help of the headline that you would like to read this content or not? How many of you decide with the help of the headlines that whether you would like to read this content, yes or no. All right, perfect. So I can see a lot of headlines dropping in. This, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the best example of having headlines. Okay. No matter how interesting your content is, no matter how interesting your email is, okay, people will go ahead and read your content, or people will open your email only when the headline, the respective headline, or the subject lines are pretty much attracting people towards it. For an example, I believe everyone has heard of Lenskart. Yes, Lenskart, a famous brand in regards of eyewears. Now, I just saw an ad for that, and it showed me 50% discount and so forth. And I went to click on the ad and try to understand what's there on the website. The moment I have been on the website, they asked me to create the account so that I can see the offers and the discount. Now, I created my account. I saw the product, I added it to my cart to have a look over the final pricing of the product, and it was not making a huge amount of difference. So I left it. I closed the website. Okay. Now, just because I had my account over there, after a couple of days, I received an email from Lenskart. Okay. When the email was shown to me in my inbox, it was said that it has been sent by a lady named as Dorothy. And the headline was, Anupam, comma, how could you do this to me? And it took me 2 minutes to understand that who's this lady sending me mails like this. And then the later when I clicked and opened on it, it was like, your product is waiting for you in the cart. Yes. So for an example, sending personalized emails, okay, with the names of people, make them to consider your email a bit preferred and go ahead and look over it. Yes. Into the same line, when you talk about the headlines, okay, headlines, I would give you one more example of YouTube. You will get to see a lot of videos, okay, with different headline, okay, and absolutely different thumbnail. And just because of the headline and the thumbnail, you go ahead to watch the video, and at the end the content is about absolutely something else. Yes, got it. So that is something which is taking the audience on a negative side, because you're showing something else, okay, and you take people on a different content. But here what I need to do, that I need to go ahead and create something in such a way that you go ahead, click on that, and you should also get your actual content after clicking on those headlines or to those I would say subject lines over the emails. Okay, so this is about your headline. The second thing what we would about to talk is known as CTAs, what we call it to be as call to action buttons. Okay, the moment you go down to websites like e-commerce where you have add to cart, something like download or buy now or submit or book now or no more. So these call to action buttons plays a very important role. For an example, if you could see this on the screen, the moment I say buy now, this is something which is very much common. You will see each and every person, each and every website, each and every brand having this which says buy now or order now or book now. Yes. But if I have something like this which says add to cart and save 25%. So here actually I'm showing up the value to my audience, that if you take an action, you actually end up saving 25% of the value. Yes. So what kind of call to action button you would like to have? Let's say submit or get a free detail or get a free code. Okay. Or download or get your free ebook. So these call to action is making people understand that, okay, you will get something out of this. You are going to achieve something with the help of these kind of call to action buttons. Okay. So this is something in regards of, I would say, headlines and CTAs. Okay, is it clear for all of y'all? Okay, now going to next, we would talk about the next one, which is known as above the fold. Now, before we talk about this chart and everything, let's go down to an actual website and try to understand what it is basically. So just allow me a moment. Let me go ahead and share up my screen with all of y'all. Okay, all right, guys. So I believe my screen of Amazon is visible to all of y'all. If it's a yes, then can you please type one quickly in the chat box? All right, perfect, perfect. Now, the moment I come down to the website, do I get to see the entire website at one go? The moment I go down to any of the website over the internet, do I get to see the entire website at one go? And the answer is no. Why? Because if I want to see the entire website or the entire web page, in fact, I actually need to go ahead and scroll down further. Yes, and then is the only time when I can actually see the content available after the section of my page. Now, let's first try to understand what is above the fold. The moment you go down to any of the website or any of the web page, and the very first section what you get to see on the screen without scrolling down. For an example, I am here on Amazon, okay? And the moment I go down to Amazon, this is what I get to see. This is said to be above the fold of my website, okay? Above the fold of my website. The moment I need to scroll down to have a look of the content below, now section after this is going to be known as below the fold, okay? Section after this is going to be known as below the fold. Again, for an example, if we go ahead and have a look over the website of NDTV, okay? So now the moment I have been on this website, this is the very first section what I get to see. Now, we always say that above the fold plays a very important role in regards of any of the website, because this is that very first impression for each and every end user who come down to your website. Okay. Now you need to create your website. You need to have that kind of content in above the fold, which is actually very much interesting. Okay. Because people would go ahead further only when they are interested on your platform. And that is the major reason why you will see each and every website is having all their options available of. Maybe it can be the menu, it can be the name, it can be the text, it can be the contact us, it can be the charts, call to action, every minute thing. Okay, so you always need to make sure that you are utilizing your above the fold at the maximum capacity. Okay, at the maximum capacity. Now when I say maximum capacity, if you could see over here the content which is very much recent, for an example, colonel and two soldiers killed in Ladakh face off, okay, or when you talk about the advertisements, okay, or the recent content, you will get to see all of these are available in above the fold instead of being shown below. Why? Because these are something which is actually being read by people, and this is something which is very fresh and recent in terms of content. Okay, so above the fold plays a very important role in regards of the same. Is it clear, all of y'all? Is it clear? All right, perfect. Now let's go ahead and have a look over this particular thing, which says the graph. Now, if you could see, okay, when we talk about this particular thing, the website which is having the maximum or the majority of the website, if you see the maximum amount of content or the maximum amount of views is there in the above the fold section. You can see this rise up. Okay, we always need to make sure that the content available in above the fold of my website is on a very higher side, above the fold and below the fold. And this is technically not only for the content. At any point of time in future, if you're planning to build up your website, always keep this one small thing in mind, that above the fold is one of the most important factor to be taken care of. Okay, now going down to the next pointer, current trends. Okay, now again, something very much important. If I am into content, or if I am having a blog or a website, or if I'm a journalist, if I write now in regards of content, which is, for an example, uh, let's say Prime Minister Narendra Modi again won the elections and he's going to be the next CM, the next Prime Minister of India. Now, if I write content like this, can I expect anyone to go ahead and read it as of now? Not really. Why is it so? Because this is something which is old in terms of content. So I need to make sure that my content is up to the date. Now, for an example, again, let's go down and see something live. So now I am back over here on NDTV. And now when I come down to YouTube, so if you all have used YouTube, so it pops up something like this, and you have all noticed something which is known as trending. Yes. Now, what is trending? Trending are those videos, okay? Trending are those videos which has been seen by a huge number of audience in a very short span of time. Now, why those videos are there in trending? Because of the kind of content what they have. Yes, the moment I come down to trending, I would have huge number of content. Yes, and it can be any sort of content up over here. Okay, or when you come down to Twitter, okay, if you come down to Twitter, now the moment you're there on Twitter, you have something towards the right hand side which says what's happening, and then all the trending content being available over there. Yes, so hashtags also plays a very important role in regards of getting your content trending. Okay, now with this, let me give you a pro tip, all of y'all, for in regards of Twitter. At any moment of time, if you people want your hashtag to go ahead on trending, your hashtag should be used for minimum 1,000 times within the time span of 24 hours. The moment you can get this, you can see your hashtag being up available over there on trending. Is it clear? So trending content. Okay. Now with trending content, you have also one more platform which would easily help you to understand this, which is known as Google Alerts or Google Trends. Both the platforms are there which can easily help you to understand that what is actually trending up as of now. Okay. And what all platforms are there for which you want to have any idea. Let's say you want to be very much updated in regards of digital marketing. So you can just simply go down to the website of Google Alerts. Okay, and just log in with your email address and create a notification. Now, what will happen that anywhere across the globe, okay, or across the internet, if anything is getting updated by about in regards of digital marketing, you will be receiving a mail for that, which lets you know that, okay, this is what it is. Clear? Now, going ahead further, we talk about the next pointer, and this is something which is very much important. This is known as AIDA, what we call it to be as attention, interest, desire, and action. Okay. Now, for this, what I would just simply like to say is that with the help of the content, okay, now let me be very much clear and give you a clear picture about it. When I talk in regards of content, it's not about getting conversions. Content is not made for getting conversions. Content perhaps is made for, I would say, building up relationship with your customers or with your end users and make them aware about it. Okay, and make them aware about it. Now, we have seen a lot of, I would say, brilliant concepts in regards of content. And one of the best, which I always prefer to a very higher extent, is Surf Excel. If you all have noticed that they always say Dag Achhe hain. Why? Because their product is that strong enough. So they, instead of directly promoting their product, first they're giving you a reason to use the product. They have given you a cause that, okay, if there are stains, you need not to worry about. We have a product which can absolutely go ahead and help you out with that. Yes. So it's about first creating a reason that why your product is important and then going ahead and pitch your products. Yes. At the same time, yes, I would also agree that content marketing is a time-taking process because this is something which is purely organic. Okay. But the results, what you will get from this is going to be an absolute, I would say, an absolute high quality results. Okay. So first you need to pull the attention of people that, hey, I'm there in the market. Then they need to get interested with your product. Once they are interested, now they start considering your product that, okay, that is what something I would like to get. And then is the time when they end up taking your action. Okay. Now, if I sum it quickly in the digital industry, this is the life cycle of a digital customer, which starts with first making them aware. Then they start considering your product. Then is the time when they give you the conversion, which is taking an action. And then towards the end is the time when you try to make them your loyal customers. So this is what is AIDA, which stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. Okay. Now with this, one more important thing, which is known as 1990 rule. Now, all the people very much interested in social media, or the people, those who have been using social media for a good amount of time, you would be in a best condition to understand this. Now, for an example, when I say, how many of you use social media? The answer is going to be all. Yes, the answer is going to be absolutely all. Now, how many of you actually create content? How many of you actually create content? It's very less. Only a couple of the people create content and they upload it. Okay. So this is how it goes. Out of 100 people, only one person is there who creates the content. Out of 100 people, only 1% is there. 1% is there who creates the content. Out of that 99, 9 people are there who would get engaged with the content, which is share, like, comment, okay, reactions, and these kind of things. And then what about the rest of the 90%? They just simply scroll down. Yes. And how many times do we do this every day? Do we end up liking every content or getting interacted with every content? No, we actually consume a lot of content. Yes. So this is something which you always need to keep in mind, because the moment you say you want to create content, you need to actually reach down to those 9 people who are going to be your targeted audience and who can easily curate your content by sharing it, or commenting, or likes, or subscribe, or reactions, or whatsoever you name it to be. Okay. So this is what is known as. With this, we come down to the next major section, which is known as the pitfalls. Okay. Now, when we talk about the pitfalls, one of the most important factor in regards of pitfall, what I have always understood is understanding your audience. Okay. What kind of audience and what kind of content. Now, let's quickly first go ahead, have a look over it, and then we would discuss. Now, the very first is to not using data to build content strategy. Now, as we have spoken about that, what kind of content is going to be used, or what kind of emotions do I need to use, what kind of subject line, what kind of descriptions. Okay. So now over here, what we always need to keep in mind is, if I have any previous data available with me, that what kind of content is being highly shared, what kind of headlines is being used by people, what kind of call to action buttons people are more clicking on. So this is a small test what I always need to do in terms of analytics the moment I want to go ahead and pitch my content. Okay. The second important thing, as I already said, understanding your targeted audience. Okay. When I say that I'm writing blogs in terms of digital marketing, okay, so I need to reach my content to all the people interested in digital marketing. And that is where I can expect my content to get curated. But if I say that I am writing contents only for content marketing, now, can I expect everyone to be interested in content marketing being in digital industry? May or may not be. One might be a SEO specialist, one might be a PPC specialist, one might be an email marketing specialist. So they might not be very much into this. Now I need to reach down to people who are only into content. For an example, when I say I write blog for sports, everyone will read it. But the moment I say I write blogs only for basketball, my audience gets narrowed and it gets very niched. Yes. So understanding your target audience. The third is goal. What you are looking as a goal after your content is published. Whether you're looking for more number of subscribers, or whether you're looking for more number of people to go ahead and comment on your website, or whether you're looking for more number of subscribers, whether you're looking for more number of people to go ahead and comment on your website or to subscribe, okay, or it's more number of people to go ahead and generate leads for you, or to get you a sale from affiliate, it can be anything. Yes. So understanding what is the goal, because what we always say is that first try to understand the goal and create your content accordingly. Okay. The next is reviewing content performance. How is my content working? Is the headline very much relevant? Am I getting more number of click rates because of the headline? If no, then what can I do? Do I have any other substitute headline ready for my content? If yes, let me go ahead and upload it and see how does it works. Yes. And then after that, I have the last point, which is not choosing the relevant platforms. Okay. Now, this is very much interesting. Now, when I say I am into a normal B2C sector of audience, I can go ahead and promote myself on Facebook. I can go ahead my promotion on Instagram, on Twitter, and all these platforms very easily. But the moment I say I'm into B2B, then is the time I would go ahead and promote myself only on the platform which is known as LinkedIn, because that's the only B2B platform available. Yes. So understanding what kind of platform and what kind of content. If my content is purely based on image, so platforms like Instagram and Pinterest is going to be very much relevant. If I talk, it's very much in regards of small, quick snippets of tweets or small amount of content, Twitter. If I want to have huge amount of text, image, video, links, interactions, Facebook. Yes. So I need to first understand what kind of content and what kind of audience, and then is the time you can easily decide what kind of platforms. So these are 5 of the major pitfalls to be taken care of. Again, let's quickly run through them. The first is not using data to build content strategies. not deciding or defining targeted audience, not determining or understanding what you are looking to have as a goal after your content, not having a look over the results, what you get with the help of the content, and towards the end, not choosing the relevant platforms. Okay, so these are the pitfalls to be avoided in regards of content marketing. Now, with this, we come down to one of the most interesting section of the entire webinar, which is the FAQs. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and try to answer as many questions as we can. All right. Yes, Lavanya.
Yes, thanks, Anupam. I think it is very insightful, and the points sort of helped us to even remember them and incorporate them in our marketing activities. So I think you spoke about IDA as well, how each customer or each brand goes through that stage as well. So coming to that, there's a question from Gaurav as well, which is I've heard content marketing takes a lot of time. Is it true? So what's your opinion on that?
See, I believe it's Gaurav. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So, hi Gaurav. Good afternoon. So the very first thing what I would like to say that yes, content marketing is something which is a time-taking process. Okay, you cannot expect that you have done it today and tomorrow you would end up getting results. No, absolutely not. But then at the same time, I also said that this is the platform which will give you one of the highest quality of results. Okay, because by the time your content actually reaches out to people, you get a good amount of insight about it. You actually are in a position to get your content matured for that kind of audience. Okay, so yes, this is something a time taking I would say process. But when you see for any of the brands now, everyone is into the vertical of blog. Why? Because of the content. Okay, there are many times when you go ahead and search for anything, possible chances are there you might end up getting results on Google in the top ranking positions, which is dated for almost 3 months back or 4 months back or 6 months back. Many a times, a year and a half is also what I have noticed. Yes. So content marketing, absolutely, it is going to take a bit of time, but you can be absolutely very much confident that it would give you one of the highest quality of results.
Sure. So from YouTube Live, we have a question from Siri on organic traffic. So the question is, how do you drive organic traffic without any ad budget for the same?
Okay, all right. So if it's your YouTube, okay, and if you want to drive traffic without going ahead and having any of the paid method, various different methods are there. Okay, so the first thing is what we manually do. Okay, we ask our close ones and near ones to get that content shared up. Okay, the second thing what you can do is go ahead and share on all the leading platforms. Okay, so let's say for an example, you have your social platforms, go ahead and post it up over there. The second thing what you can do is that the kind of content what you have, try to go ahead and join the relevant groups on social platform. So let's say if you're a chef, okay, for an example, hypothetically, try to go ahead and join groups in regards of cooking, which is easily available on Facebook. You have billion of groups available. Okay. Now, once you have joined those groups, now is the time you can share your content over there. Now, what is happening that sharing your content in that group, which is only relevant to food, you're actually getting a very niche audience who's actually very much interested only in food. So what now will happen that yes, you will have good number of views, but the average watch duration is going to be on a higher side because people are interested and they might end up watching your video almost around 80% or sometimes the entire video. Okay, so this is going to be in regards of that. Based on the audience what you have, if you have Indian audience, these are going to be the perfect ones. If you have audience across the globe, then you can use platforms like Reddit. Okay, you can use platforms like I would say if you're available on those platforms, for an example, MySpace. So these platforms, Reddit easily would give you a very high amount of result. Okay, Pinterest also can be used. You can have a thumbnail and people click and they go down to the YouTube and they watch your video. Okay, all right.
So next question is from Apurva on, is there any scope of content marketing related to current news, especially in politics?
Politics as of now, when you talk about content marketing, yes, slowly and steadily, because what we saw was the live example for NDTV, which was the tense situation what we are unfortunately facing between India and China into our Indian borders. So yes, in terms of politics, a lot of things are coming up. If you see, I would not like to get deep dive into politics, but then you would see now is the time when Indian politics is slowly trying to use this COVID situation also to be visible, to be available. Yes, and it's not only Indian politics, each and every one doing this. Okay, when actually COVID started, so that was the only option. We all were locked down, and so to come up with this, what all things we can do in COVID. If you have been very much regular to your emails, and if you are registered on Flipkart, you would see Flipkart has been sending mails from day one, from the time lockdown has been announced, telling that how you can utilize your quarantine, what all things you can do in this. So yes, absolutely. In regards of politics technically anytime you can use for content marketing. That's anytime going to be a good one.
Sure. I think also with regard to the increase in the internet consumption and also so much of vernacular marketing, brands are slowly starting to realize how to communicate in the preferred language in the regions. There's an interesting question from Vignesh on any specific points on new digital audience in small towns and rural areas who are currently getting active across mediums. So what would be the strategy to go across that kind of audience?
Okay. Now, when you talk about those kind of audience, which has been recently, they have recently started interacting with internet to a very higher side, okay, is going to be more in a video format or into the social media format. Okay. If you write up content, you cannot expect huge number of people to go ahead and watch it. For an example, if I take my example, okay, so my parents use internet. They know there is something which is known as internet, but the only usage what they have is in regards of one thing, which is WhatsApp. WhatsApp is working, YouTube is working. That's enough. After that, how they go ahead and use it, not being very much specific. Okay. So now when you talk about that kind of audience, you first need to understand what kind of content is being liked by that audience. Okay. And those kind of content can be easily curated on the platforms of social media and on YouTube to be on a very higher side. Okay. So these two platforms are going to be very much niche if you want to reach down to that set of audience who has recently started their interaction with digital media.
Yes. There's a question from Mr. Sanjay asking for the how do you measure TCO for entrepreneurs? Total cost of ownership for content managers for entrepreneurs itself.
Okay, all right. So now here basically we decide or we analyze it based on my conversion level. What is my conversion level? Okay, because when I say I want to have a conversion, so let's say if we all of you have a website, so I cannot expect the conversion level to be same for all of you. One has a blog, for him getting more number of comments is a conversion. One has a website which is e-commerce, for them sale is more about it. Okay, for the other one has a blog for which downloading documents or PDF files or case study is more number of conversions. Okay, so first you need to actually have a rough market that okay, when I have started promoting up my content, I have roughly reached down to 1 million people. Okay, now based on that 1 million of audience, what kind of CTR, what kind of clicks you have been got, what kind of amount people have been spending on. Okay, and then is the time you can have been decided that okay, by spending almost around 1 month and getting a click rate of almost around 25,000, I have generated almost around 1,000 leads. Okay, now is the time it becomes easy for you to understand that okay, in this amount of time, is this what you planned while writing up the content, or you had a different goal? If you have achieved, it's perfectly okay. If not, now is the time to go ahead and what we technically call it in digital media is the A/B testing. Now is the time you need to go ahead and test various different headlines, okay, various different creatives, okay, try to promote it on various different times, okay. If it's an email, we call it to be generally that your mail should be sent somewhere around between 12 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon instead of being sent late morning or late evening. Yes. So this is how you go ahead and plan for it.
So there's a question from Prerna who's asking, when we do have multiple platforms of the same brand, how do I differentiate between what I post on Facebook versus Instagram? How do I differentiate that? Because I think for her, she says it's a lot of work. So do I post the same content or how do I go about it?
Okay, all right. A good question, Prerna. Now for this, basically what is most important is you need to understand the platform. Okay, because when you talk about Facebook, you can write as long text as you want. Absolutely no issues. Okay, you can add images, you can add videos, you can add carousels, you can do everything. But the moment you talk about Instagram, you can write text in the description section, but you can easily expect a very rare number of audience to come down and read that. But when you talk about Instagram, it's more about image. So you need to create your images in such a way that the major pointers or the headlines, everything is there, created in an image format, and it has been uploaded. Okay. When you talk about Twitter, again, you need to cut short your content because you're limited to 280 characters of content itself. Yes. So 280 characters of tweet is the maximum what you can have, then having up your image or your video or your link. Yes. And if you say if it's a link, then you actually need to cut down short your content to a higher extent, because in that 280 characters itself, your text and your link is going to be together. And then to just play around with it, you can use any of the link shorteners available so that it can cut down short your URL and you get more amount of space to write down your actual content. Okay. So that is what you first need to understand. Okay. So first try to understand the platform, and then you can create different kind of, I would say, visibility for all of them. Okay.
I think you did touch upon this when you spoke about choosing the right platform, which is Venkatesh question as well, which is, does content marketing work well for just B2B or is it more for B2C?
Venkatesh, if you would ask me personally, it works very good. I would say with B2C as well. Okay. Uh, for an example, let's say something like this. If you want to buy a new phone, would you directly go ahead and buy over the internet, or would you like to do your own research? Obviously, the answer is going to be you would like to do your own research. Yes. And when you end up doing research, what do you get? Content. Now that content can be in a video format. It can be on a text format. Now these days you would see people trying to pitch their products using platform like Quora as well. Yes, you go ahead and search for top 10 cameras to buy. You will get a content, and after every description what they have given, there's a link. You click on that, you go down to Amazon, and you can buy the product. Yes. So it very nicely works for B2B, and especially if you're an affiliate marketer, yes, it works on a very preferable extent in regards of content.
So I think, Anupam, when you spoke about keeping up to the trends and brands addressing what's happening around and using Google alerts and all that. So how important are really hashtags, which is a question from Prerna as well. And is there any app or any methodology you use to recommend to sort of make use of the hashtags? And as a brand, is it always necessary to sort of be in trend and use all the hashtags which has been trending, or is it based on the kind of brand you are and what communication strategy you have overall?
Okay, all right. Now, technically for this, I would say that use the hashtags which you feel like is going to be very much relevant to your brand. Okay. Or if you could create few of the hashtags for yourself. Let's say when we are there on Instagram, we end up using a lot of hashtags. Okay. But then I have seen a lot of people, even I myself, okay, I end up using one hashtag, which is nothing else but my username. So that is something which is completely dedicated to me. Okay. Now, whenever you talk about anything, let's say when I talk about digital marketing, so what I would make sure is that whenever someone is searching for any sort of hashtag, my content is clearly visible to all of them. Okay. My content is easily visible to all of them. And having hashtag in today's date is very much important because if you want to get visibility, okay, if you want to get visibility, having hashtags is very important because now you cannot expect everyone to go ahead and see your content. Okay. If I post something now, and let's say if you all are my friends on Facebook, and if I post something now, I can clearly tell you that half of my friend list will not be in a condition to see that content. Why? Because they have other number of friends who are posting something or the other, and my content is pushed down deep further. Yes. But with the hashtags, you can easily expect. The moment you search for digital marketing, you get to see. You end up searching for SEO, SEM. You can use all these hashtags. So yes, hashtags is very much important. No specific tool for this. No specific tool for this. I would recommend you to do it manually. The moment you feel like that this hashtag seems to be something very much relevant, okay, you can go ahead and type down for those hashtags and see what kind of content do you have. Okay, and the best thing is that on Instagram, the moment you type down those hashtags, it will tell you the total number of users or the total number of people those have followed that hashtag. So you get a rough estimate that, okay, what kind of data I can get. Yes. So that is what is. And then as you also spoke about Google Trends and Google Alerts. So obviously, yes, Google Alerts will give you an idea that what kind of content is actually trending. So let's say if I'm a blogger in regards of digital marketing and I've created an alert for digital marketing. So on a daily basis, I am updated that what kind of content is actually being pushed. And I can write something in regards of that. Let's say for an example, I say India won the match. So now every person is going to write the same thing, India won the match. They cannot write that, okay, something else. No, it's not possible. That is the news. And even Google knows that a part of content is possible, that it can be similar to all of them. But what is the major difference? The major difference is how it is kept across in front of people. I say India won, and someone says that India wins again. So there's a difference, okay? And it's all with the help of the kind of content what you write. Yes. So this is how you can use Google Alert, being very specific.
I think very related to what you said, like how everybody talks about the cricket match when we India wins. The same a related question from Madhurika, which is in the times of COVID, almost all brands are talking about the same communication regarding safety. So how does she differentiate the same communication but in a different way for her brand?
Okay, all right. See, now I have been studying a lot about this. Okay, now if you slowly see the trend, okay, first I would like to tell this. So now if you see the trend, now is the time when brands are slowly, just because we have got into the first phase of unlock, now the brands are slowly and steadily trying to pull that attention from COVID. Okay, a lot of major brands have been doing this to make people comfortable that yes, everything would be all right. We are there, we can help you, and so and so and so forth. Okay, but still, it has been important for each and every brand to go ahead and promote themselves and talk about the safety and everything. I would give you one example for Lifebuoy. They came up with the TV advertisements and the digital advertisements stating that it's not only Lifebuoy, you can use any of the soaps available, which would actually keep you out into the contact of COVID virus. Okay, so that is one way of keeping it out. So now that brand has gone a different level. That okay, it's not me who I'm promoting myself. In fact, I am trying to save the humanity by promoting all the brand at one go. Okay, so at this particular moment of time, it's something you need to plan for, something out of the box, where it's not only about promoting your product, but at the same time, it's all about making sure that you're actually helping out people in regards of these things.
Very true. Yes. I think, yeah, we're almost to the end. So we'll take one last question, which is I did see a lot of questions on career opportunities in digital, in particular to content marketing itself. So how do you think current scenario with, remote learning and also working from home, how do you see the opportunities in this field?
Digital media, I see a huge amount of opportunity, because now being in this situation of COVID, we all have been over the internet like crazy. Okay, what we used to daily get data limitation of 1.5 GB goes like this, and then we are left over. So now the usage of internet has been gone to a very higher level. Now if you see, a lot of brands have just popped up into the market like crazy. One of the best example what I can give you is Zoom. There was a time when only mere number of people were using Zoom, but now just because of this, brands are evolving up. Yes. So now when you talk about the future of digital marketing, it's going to be on a very higher side, because now slowly and steadily the grip of digital media is going to be on a very high level. Till now, we were there on the second position with the maximum number of internet users. But if you actually see that data, we were into, I would say, the overall digital users were on a limited size, whereas we had a lot of partial users. So when I say partial users, the people in the remote areas and into the lower section of internet, they're aware only of WhatsApp, that acha, I can do video call, I can do this. But now they are also slowly and steadily getting in touch in regards of YouTube and this and that, and we are getting details about it. Okay, now if we talk about the stats and everything, there was a time when to manage this audience of 1.3 billion for our country, we had almost around somewhere around 50 lakh digital marketers only. Okay, but now with this COVID situation, the usage has been going ahead. Okay, the usage has been going ahead to a very wider extent, and to cater this set of audience, now is the time when you can expect that boom is supposed to come up, when a requirement of digital marketers is going to be on a higher side. Whereas when you talk about content, yes, this is going to be the main primary focus, because being very specific, you cannot expect everyone to directly go ahead and pay and promote their brands. Organic is always the very first preference. Okay, and especially when you talk about one of the most major format or the major vertical of digital media, which is known as SEO, is purely based on content. So at the end of the day, if you want to rank, content is going to be on a very highest priority. So yes, whether you talk about digital media or you talk about content marketing, the future in both of them is on a very higher side. Okay.
Yes, I think that's about it. We'll close the session soon. So thank you, Anupam. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so
It
very
was
much.
a fabulous session. We had a lot of key takeaways, and I think they're going to be life-changing hacks for a lot of people who are starting content marketing for the very first
Absolutely.
time,
Yeah.
as also for a lot of content marketers. Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for joining in. Please do leave your feedback. I've sent the link in the group, link in the chat box.
All right.
Have a
Thank you.
nice evening and stay safe. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.